And welcome back. Joining me now is Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Senator, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
So you've just gotten off of the phone with Israeli and Saudi officials. You have new information. What can you tell us?
I will be going to Saudi Arabia and Israel in the coming days with a group of senators. The drive to peace and normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel continues. There's a desire by both parties to move forward in this effort to normalize relationships. Israel is talking about humanitarian aid. They're going to turn the water on in the south. They're urging the Egyptians to let people from Gaza go into the Sinai. I just got a message from Cindy McCain, the head of the World Food Program. They're in dire straits. So here's my message to our friends in Egypt. Open up. Allow Gaza residents to go into the Sinai. To the international community, we have to help. To our friends in Israel, you need the time and space to destroy Hamas. All Palestinians are not the same. If Hamas is destroyed, Israel is safer, and the pathway to peace between the Palestinians and the world gets wider. So I start this morning somewhat optimistic that Iran's goal to destroy the peace process between Israel and Saudi Arabia will fail.
And you don't think the peace process at this point is dead as we sit here and speak?
No, I've never felt better about the drive to peace by Saudi, Israel, and the United States shall continue. We need to change the world as it is. Nothing would change the world for the better more than Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States to form agreements to end the Arab-Israeli conflict as we know it.
I do want to ask you about the crisis on the ground in Gaza. And you have said that Israel should go into Gaza and, quote, level the place.
If necessary.
Are you calling for the full-scale destruction of Gaza despite what could be untold civilian deaths?
No, I'm calling for the destruction of Hamas. Israel is trying to find a safe place for Gaza residents. Hamas is trying to stop them from leaving. Israel is trying to encourage them to leave. Our friends in Egypt, you have it in your power to give Gaza residents a safe place. This will be a World War II type operation where you go in and destroy the regime, Hamas, and over time replace it with something else like we did Germany and Japan. But the Israelis do not want to kill innocent people. They're going to turn the water on. Every death going forward, I blame on Hamas, not Israel.
Well, and of course, 40% of Gaza's population is under the age of 15. Are you confident, though? Right now, the people of Gaza are trapped. Are you confident? And are you essentially sending the message to Israel to let them get out before they begin their ground invasion?
Israel doesn't need me to tell them to let them out. They want them out. Israel doesn't. You know, the tit-for-tat exchange, the old way of doing business, died with the killing and slaughter of the Israeli babies by Hamas. We're not going to do the old game anymore. The goal is to destroy Hamas as a terrorist organization that would liberate the Palestinian people who live in Gaza and to make it safer for Israel. We're going to give Israel the time and the space. Egypt, if you're listening to this program, open up your borders. The world will help you deal with these people in the Sinai, and they will go back home. But when they go back home, Hamas will be destroyed.
And I have to ask you the same question I asked Jake Sullivan. What happens the day after if Israel is successful in defeating Hamas in Gaza? Who governs Gaza, Senator?
Okay, here's what I think. That's a really good question. All Palestinians are not the same. They're all not terrorists. The PA is still in existence in the West Bank. The deal between Israel and Saudi Arabia has a Palestinian component. For this deal to really go into effect, the Saudis are willing to help the Palestinians, but the PA needs to change. We got old, corrupt leaders. They need to be replaced with younger leaders who are less corrupt. So I have no animosity toward the Palestinian people. I want to destroy Hamas. I want to go to the heart of the problem.
So are you saying the Palestinian Authority should control Gaza after
I am saying
this incursion?
Hamas needs to be destroyed. Israel needs to have a safe zone in Gaza. The Gaza people need to be liberated from Hamas. But how do you get there from here is your question.
Let me ask you about Iran, Senator. The broader region, of course. You said this week that the only way to keep the war from escalating is to hold Iran accountable, part of what you're talking about now, and that it might mean bombing their oil refineries. Have you had any discussions with the Biden administration about this?
A bit. I want to applaud President Biden for his strong statement. in support of Israel. I just got off the phone with the Israelis. Their goal is to destroy Hamas in the south and try to save as many innocent Palestinians as possible, to prevent escalation north from Hezbollah. Here's my message. If Hezbollah, which is a proxy of Iran, launches a massive attack on Israel, I will consider that a threat to the state of Israel, existential in nature. I will introduce a resolution in the United States Senate to allow military action by the United States in conjunction with Israel to knock Iran out of the oil business. Iran, if you escalate this war, we're coming for you.
Are you effectively poised to declare war on Iran? That's very strong language.
I am poised to use military force to destroy the source of funding for Hamas and Hezbollah. The idea that Iran read about this operation in the paper or on television is laughable. 93% of Hezbollah and Hamas's money comes from Iran. They're the source of the problem. They're the great evil. So if Hezbollah escalates against Israel, it will be because Iran told them to. Then Iran, you're in the crosshairs of the United States and Israel.
I have to ask you about some of these recent comments by the GOP frontrunner, someone you support, former President Trump. He praised Hezbollah as, quote, very smart. Israel's communication minister called that language shameful. Do you agree? Is that shameful language, Senator?
Yeah, that was a huge mistake. If I were President Trump, I'd talk about being the strongest president for Israel in modern times. He issued a statement 2 days ago, I stand with Bibi, I stand with Israel. Yeah, it was a mistake. He's on the right track. But when, Biden administration's border policies are failing and their policies against Iran are failing.
Senator, as you know, he also criticized Prime Minister Netanyahu as well. And a lot of people saw that as a personal attack because Netanyahu has recognized President Biden as a duly elected president. Do you think that's appropriate at this moment?
No, I thought it was not helpful. And President Trump has a lot to... He recognized Israel, Jerusalem as the capital. He recognized Golan Heights as part of Israel. He put in place the Abraham Accords. That's what I would... No, I wouldn't criticize Bibi. He put out a statement a couple of days ago. I stand with Bibi. The House, I know we got a lot to talk about. If I were in the House, I'd vote for Jim Jordan tomorrow. He's a good man, but we need to get a speaker.
I want to ask you about the House, but are those comments disqualifying for the former president to be attacking America's closest ally in the Middle East when they have just undergone this attack, the largest attack against Jews since the Holocaust, Senator?
I'm not here, I haven't beat on Biden a whole lot. It's his policies toward appeasing Iran, withdrawing from Afghanistan and looking weak in the eyes of Russia. Are they disqualifying? We'll have an election. President Trump was a strong president. They were afraid of him. Iran was afraid of him, and Russia was afraid of him. We've lost deterrence. We need to regain it. I'm not here talking about the 24 election. I'm talking about destroying Hamas in a way that will make Israel safer and the Palestinian people freer.
And as you know, right now, as you just mentioned, the House of Representatives unable to take any action to help Israel because they are in this state of paralysis. You say you would support Jim Jordan. Here's what Congressman Michael McCaul said, the Republican chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He called this situation dangerous. Do you worry it makes the United States vulnerable on the world stage that we don't have a Speaker of the House, Senator?
It could be. Now, we had a meeting 2 days ago with senators, ranking member and chairman with the White House. Here's what's coming out of the Senate very soon. A big package for Ukraine. To my House colleagues, if you strip out Ukrainian aid, Russia will keep going. There will eventually be a war between NATO and Russia, and it will be a green light to China to invade Taiwan. So to the Republicans in the House, if you pull the plug on Ukraine, you're going to create more war in Europe. China will go after Taiwan. To the Biden administration, you don't need Lindsey Graham just saying we're coming after Iran. You need to say
Do you hold former President Trump responsible for that? As you know, he's the one saying that Ukraine aid should be conditional. He's leading that charge.
I think it should be transparent. President Trump.
But do you hold him responsible for that?
No. Every member of Congress will vote. So here's what will happen. If we get an aid package to the House, the Ukrainian component will pass. Defeating Russia is in our national security interest. We haven't lost one soldier in Iran. We spent less than 5% of our military budget. They have destroyed 50% of the Russian combat capability of the Ukrainians. Keeping Ukraine in the fight deters war between China and Taiwan and will stop Putin. He must be defeated before we get in a war in NATO. To the Biden administration, I will work with you to bring peace between Saudi and Israel, but you're going to have to up your game when it comes to Iran and do it now.
All right. Senator Lindsey Graham, we will leave it there. Thank you so much. Good to see you. We appreciate it. And when